Hi everybody. So I'm just gonna dive right into the symptoms and the signs that I had um, when I was officially diagnosed with MS. So I was in the 9 month of expecting our second child, and so I was having some issues with. I would wake up with my arms being super just asleep, numb, tingling, sometimes partial paralysis, and then it started happening to my legs. I had talked to my OBGYN, and she said, the baby's on a nerve. If it consists, if you still have these issues, we'll follow up with your primary. And so that's what I did, because none of the symptoms are going away. So I ended up having to go see my doctor. We did testing, lab work, x-rays, you name it. 3 months into after having our child, my symptoms had actually at this point had exaggerated to the point where I became a little concerned, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I'm sure that I drove my doctor crazy. I'm sure he thought I was insane. And we just could not figure out what was going on. So he ended up sending me to a neurologist, specializes in the nerve system. They did some testing, which was, and I have to tell you guys, it was very painful. They have this in-house machine where they put these needles from your head down to your toes, and it basically touches every nerve and muscle that most of us don't use on a regular basis, and they just zap you. And they're able to tell if that part of your body is functioning or not. And then unfortunately for my news, my left side was not functioning. And so that came back abnormal, and that's when everything started. They started doing MRI testing, x-rays, lab work, and figured out that I had MS at that point. And there's a specific test that they do with the spinal tap. And it's a very uncomfortable test to do anyway. It's a high-risk test. For those of you that have had it or have heard of it, it can cause paralysis. So I was very hesitant to do the test, but I did it, in order to find out what was going on with me. And so that's kind of how I got diagnosed. And the second part of this continued series is just going to be the type of medication that I started taking. I don't want to overload you guys with a bunch of medical terminology, which doesn't matter, but just kind of get to the point of how you can get diagnosed, and really the only way you can do it is through a spinal tap. And of course, the signs and the symptoms of it is different for everybody. That's what was happening to me. I was getting partial paralysis, cramping in the neck area, things like that. If you've ever been swimming and you kind of have like a cramp, that's basically what it is. So we're going to get into the second part of it, and I'm just going to go over the medication. So stay tuned.